2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania,
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School,
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhorar seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com...
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania,
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games. E à noite,
Tech School,
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhorar seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a Casa do Gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania.
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School.
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhor seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a casa do gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania.
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School.
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhor seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a casa do gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games. E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania.
Trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School,
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhorar seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto, tão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a Casa do Gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania.
Trazendo tudo da cultura.
Fala galera da Tech Games BR, meio-dia e 45, começa aqui a nossa transmissão desse dia, acho que o mais importante da E3 aqui, que inicia ali, começou a fato de ontem com as grandes publishers, que é a Ubisoft, e hoje nós temos mais publishers sendo apresentando aqui suas novas criações na E3 desse ano, aqui no canal. A gente faz ali a transmissão com o sinal da IGN, mas aqui no canal nós fazemos a nossa transmissão especial com base no que é enviado para a gente na geradora de imagem, tá? Então logo mais, meio-dia e 45, corrigindo aqui, meio-dia e 45 você consegue ver o cronômetro aqui embaixo. Colocar o cronômetro para você. Aqui embaixo você já consegue ver o cronômetro, né? O nosso cronômetro está falando ali que faltam 49 minutos para o início da live oficial da geradora de imagem. E logo mais a gente volta aqui na Tech Games BR com a Bethesda e mais outras publishers que vão mostrar suas criações aqui no canal em breve para você. Voltamos logo. Fique aí.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania.
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School.
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhor seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a Casa do Gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania.
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School.
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhor seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a Casa do Gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos da C3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
dead already? I must be. I mean, this is a punishment, right? Yep, this is death. No! No! No, 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 no! This isn't happening. I'm going to have to make an emergency landing. Hold on, Chief. I'm going to dig through them and find one with the working sleep space drive. And when you're done with this war, we'll get away from here. Far away.
Fala galera da Tech Games BR, a Higiene acabou de colocar aqui que temos 1 hora e 47 minutos para o início da live. De fato, enquanto isso nós vemos as apresentações das publishers que vem aí pra gente. Beleza galera? Daqui a pouco estamos aí de volta. Continue acompanhando.
hunted, defeated by me. I wish I could tell you it was difficult, but it wasn't. We are one step ahead, always. The ring is already under our control. Soon, the auditorium as well. The Harbinger and the Banished share the same goal. We fight together to honor the will of Atriarchs. But without challenge, I grew weary, lost, alone. But here you now stand. This is my last fight. A true test of legends. Our story will outlive us both. Set a fire in your heart, Spartan. Bare your fangs. Fight hard. Die well.
Confirm military specialization. Confirm facial identification. Profile reconstruction complete.
Well, what about Shepard? Earthborn, but no record of her family.
Doesn't have one. She was raised on the streets, learned to look out for herself.
All stations secure for transit. Board is green. Approach run has begun.
Niles will scout out ahead. He'll feed you status reports throughout the mission. Otherwise, I want radio silence.
We've got his back, Captain.
The mission's yours now, Shepard. Good luck!
Gunnery Chief Ashley Williams of the 212. You the one in charge here, ma'am?
Are you wounded, Williams?
A few scrapes and burns, nothing serious. The others weren't so lucky. Oh, man.
To good place for an ambush. Keep your guard up. Oh god, they're still alive.
What did the Geth do to them?
Humans. Thank the Maker.
Hurry! Close the door before they come back.
Marines held them off long enough for us to hide. They gave their lives to save us.
Saren.
Nihilus.
The world is filled with stories of legendary heroes and treacherous villains, of fantastical creatures and wondrous places where nature and magic live in perfect harmony. Not all stories have happy endings. But yours has yet to be written.
I remember when everything changed. The floods, the storms, the fires, people dying in the streets. The corporations gave us solutions. A better world. And we welcome them into our lives. But the laws of nature aren't meant to be broken. We need to know what they're hiding.
Cruel world.
Did you find the answers you were looking for, Agent Dark?
Not yet. This is just the beginning.
2021 is perhaps the most important year in Bethesda Softworks' 35-year history. This is the first year in the publisher's existence that has not been independent. It's now owned by Microsoft. It's a move that has meant a year of more questions than answers for fans of Bethesda games, especially in regards to platform exclusivity. Just in case you missed the news, this year Microsoft purchased Bethesda's holding company, ZeniMax Media, for an eye-watering $7.5 billion. That's the sort of money that can buy dreams, and considering many are desperately dreaming of the Elder Scrolls 6, Microsoft has certainly made a savvy investment. Alongside Elder Scrolls and Fallout developer Bethesda Game Studios, Microsoft's deal also includes ZeniMax Online Studios, Machine Games, Arcane, Tango Gameworks, AlphaDog, and Roundhouse Studios. That's 8 studios to add to Xbox's already extensive lineup. It's vital to note that Bethesda has not been folded into the Xbox Game Studios and instead operates as its own company within Microsoft. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has said that Bethesda is largely set to continue working as it always has, but with Xbox and PC positioned as the best place for its games. Quite how that will pan out remains to be seen, but already we've seen a sizable chunk of the publisher's portfolio added to the Xbox Game Pass library, along with the promise of Bethesda Xbox exclusives to come. Despite all this, the last 12 months have had somewhat of a PlayStation focus for Bethesda. In the build-up to the PS5 launch, it was announced that Bethesda's next 2 major projects, Arcane's Deathloop and Tango Gameworks Ghostwire Tokyo, will be limited-time console exclusives for Sony's white and black monolith. The Microsoft deal has done nothing to change this, and so the near future of Bethesda is very much with Team Blue.
Don't fear the unknown. Attack it.
The focus would have already begun shifting to Team Green if the COVID-19 pandemic hadn't thrown a ridiculous amount of obstacles at Arcane. Lockdown conditions forced the developer to push back on Deathloop's launch twice, and each one of those delays has delayed the potential of Deathloop arriving on Xbox consoles. Thankfully, Arcane's current target of September 14th for the PlayStation 5 and PC release seems realistic. Tango Gameworks, meanwhile, has been exceptionally quiet since the Ghostwire Tokyo gameplay reveal at Sony's PS5 Focus State of Play back in June. Currently, its release date holds steady at October 2021. With any luck, things will stay that way. As for things we've been able to play over the last year, much of Bethesda's focus has been on live service games. After a year of struggling to make amends for its disastrous launch, Bethesda Game Studios added NPCs to Fallout 76 in 2020's Wastelander update. This proved a radical change for the game, finally making it feel closer to a multiplayer Fallout RPG rather than an abandoned apocalypse. In the following months, Bethesda has issued 4 chunky updates to Fallout 76. Among them is Steel Dawn, which finally ushered in the return of fan-favourite faction, the Brotherhood of Steel. The Elder Scrolls Online has also given us a year of great content. 2020's expansion pack Greymoor added the beloved region of Skyrim to the MMO. 2021's new Blackwood expansion then dropped in Oblivion's Cyrodiil and the Black Marsh, and with that, the Elder Scrolls Online has now visited all the settings of the mainline RPG series. That means Bethesda should probably get a move on with the Elder Scrolls 6 so that the Elder Scrolls Online has another region that it can copy. Outside of the company's flagship universes though, Bethesda's had a quiet year. The most notable launch has been Doom Eternal's 2-part The Ancient Gods DLC. While this campaign added some new ideas to id Software's celebrated shooter, it's not the same as a new big release, and so, for the majority of the year, eyes have been on Bethesda's future.
Rip and tear until it is done.
The first step there has already been hinted at by Wolfenstein developer Machine Games. The Swedish studio announced in January that it's developing an Indiana Jones game, but stopped short at revealing anything more than a teaser trailer. This has, naturally, generated a huge amount of questions. Could this be Bethesda's first Xbox exclusive? Will it be Microsoft's answer to Uncharted? And all importantly, how many Nazis will we get to hit with a whip? That brings us to E3 2021, where Microsoft and Bethesda Showcase could provide some of those answers. It could also be where we finally see Starfield, Bethesda Game Studios' spacefaring game that was announced back in E3 2018. Almost nothing is known about Starfield, making it a perfect candidate for a big gameplay-focused reveal. Provided it is actually ready to be shown, of course. Much less likely to be part of the show is The Elder Scrolls 6. Its announcement back in 2018 felt more like a reassurance that a Skyrim sequel will definitely happen. Bethesda boss Todd Howard has also been keen to temper any ideas that we'll see the game soon. Those are all the games that we know about, but with 8 developers as part of Bethesda Softworks, there stands a chance that we'll see something unexpected. id Software could be in a position to announce something new. However, a new Doom or Quake project, if in development, is more likely to be announced at QuakeCon in August. If there is a surprise game to be announced by Bethesda at E3 2021, then put your bets on Arcane. The developer's Leon studio may be working on Deathloop, but the team in Austin has been quiet since the release of Prey back in 2017. Regardless of the announcements though, it'll be the details that speak loudest on what kind of Xbox-focused future Bethesda has. Will all the new games be day one on Game Pass, like Xbox's other first-party studios? Or does Bethesda's unique position as an Xbox-owned publisher mean more platform and release flexibility? Whatever the answers may be, Bethesda fans from all console corners will be watching E3 2021 and hoping for the right announcements. And for everything else Bethesda and more summer of gaming, make sure to stick with IGN.
Hello everybody, June is here and it's a busy month for video games because E3 is right around the corner, but also a whole buttload of new games are on the way, so let's make this really quick because I got a whole bunch of other stuff I have to do this month. Here are June 2021's biggest game releases. On June 1st, the Warhammer 40k universe gets a little bigger and a little louder with Necromunda, Hired Gun, which ditches all that turn-based nonsense for big, loud, first-person shooting on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC. Then there's Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which is on PS4 and Xbox One and PC, following its Switch release from earlier this year. The cooperative espionage puzzle adventure Operation Tango hits PC, both PlayStations, and all 3.5 Xboxes. And then of course the Elder Scrolls Online expansion, The Gates of Oblivion, comes to PC and Stadia and will be hitting consoles later on in the month. On June 2nd, Sludge Life hits Nintendo Switch. This is a Devolver-published indie which is officially described as a first-person, open-world, vandalism-centric stroll through a polluted island full of cranky idiots. Sounds nice. That's already on PC. On June 3rd, get ready to put the pedal to the other pedals with Tour de France 2021 on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC, and if that sounds like too much cardio and bicycles and spandex, you can swap that bike and the unitard for a desk chair and some nice spreadsheets in Pro Cycling Manager 2021. It's a lot of work keeping these bicycle men in... I'm kidding. I'm sorry, I don't know what a Pro Cycling Manager does. Somebody's got to manage these bicycle guys. Somebody's got to manage these bicycle guys going up and down hills all day. They're just pedaling every which way, drinking all sorts of sports juices and whatnot. I don't know what that game's about. Anyway, on June 4th, Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 lets you shoot people in the head on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and then DC Superhero Girls Teen Power on Switch probably doesn't let you shoot anybody anywhere, but seems like a nice time nonetheless. Also that day, the puzzle-focused Ori-like Evergate comes to PS5 following its release for basically everything else last year. And The Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom comes to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, adapting a popular young adult graphic novel series turned Netflix show that I'm just now hearing about because I'm old and out of touch. Finally, there's the deep space survival horror game The Persistence, which will persistently scare your space pants off of you on PS5 and Series X. On June 5th, another new Goose game is out, except this one actually has a title, and it's called Mighty Goose. The game is kind of like Metal Slug, except it's about those horrible birds that crap all over soccer fields. That's on basically everything that comes with the controller, except for Google Stadia. On June 8th, chug some mead, launch your friends out of catapults, throw roast chickens at people, and otherwise get medieval in Chivalry 2 on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC, and if you'd rather do more serious stuff involving swords, there's always the Elder Scrolls Online, now for PS5 and Series X, with consoles also getting that Gates of Oblivion update I mentioned earlier. If that's not enough sword stuff for one day, the 8th is also the PC release of Edge of Eternity, a JRPG inspired by Final Fantasy, which is technically an FRPG because it's made by French people. If you'd prefer a JRPG actually made in Japan that isn't inspired by Final Fantasy because it is a Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade comes to PS5 on June 10th to hold you over until they finish remaking the rest of that damn game. I want to ride chocobos and go snowboarding already. That day also sees the release of Ninja Gaiden Master Collection on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, or maybe that day doesn't see the release because ninjas are sneaky and they operate under the cover of night, but either way, that game is coming out then. If you missed out on Hyperdimension Neptunia way back on PS3 and then missed out when they remade it on PS Vita and then remade it again on PS4, well, great news because they finally remade it for PlayStation 5 and now it's called Neptunia Reverse and it's out that day as well. On June 11th, PS5 gets Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which must be enunciated lest you sound like you said ripped a fart by accident. That will hopefully give us a better idea of what the PS5 is capable of, but at the very least, it has a gun that turns people into shrubs, which is hilarious. PS5 and PS4 and PC also get Guilty Gear Strive that day as well, so you can make gorgeously animated people wearing way too many belts whip each other's asses faster than the human eye can even comprehend. Meanwhile, Nintendo Switch gets Game Builder Garage, which teaches the basics of game design and lets players share their creations on the internet, and you know that's gonna get real weird in no time at all. Also on Switch, as well as PS4, is Darius Burst EX Plus, another Chronicle, which is great if you don't think any of these other games have enough laser bullets, or flashing lights, or giant space slugs, or titles that sound like the memoir of a prescription drug. On the 22nd, you can squad up and party down with 3 friends to wail on some D&D monsters in Dark Alliance on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC. If that sounds too rowdy and you need some damn peace and quietus, there's also Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights on PC and Switch. It's the quietest game on this list. On the 24th, Alex Kidd pays a visit to Miracle World DX on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, and PS1 RPG classic Legend of Mana gets a big HD remaster on Switch, PS4, and PC. Also on PC is Roguebook, a deck-building roguelike from the creator of Magic the Gathering. Golf is a nice, quiet, laid-back sport, unless Waluigi shows up and starts making a scene, and that's exactly what's going to happen in Mario Golf Super Rush, hitting the Switch on the 25th. You can beat up some super cool looking monsters using psychokinesis in the anime looking brainpunk RPG Scarlet Nexus, which is on all the PlayStations and the Xboxes and the PCs that can run it. And last but not least, Roses Are Red, Violets Are Blue. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is out for Switch, and I will not stop quoting that stupid meme when talking about that game. I think it's very funny, and I just won't let it go.
Let it go, let it go.
On the 29th, Nintendo Switch players can destroy all humans, finally, or defy their destinies in Disgaea 6, Defiance of Destiny. Hey, this guy right here defying his destiny, get a load of that! Anyway, there's also Curve Space, which takes classic arcade action but makes it, like, all curvy and in space. That's on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, Switch, and PC. And finally, PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One owners can revisit the classic 16-bit LucasArts games Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol and see if they are as brutally hard as you remember them being way back in 4th grade, and I think they are, even with the additional save states for the re-release. Oh, also at some point in June, Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis is supposedly fully launching. It is currently in beta, but only in the West on Xbox and PC, but I guess it's on PS4 and Switch in Japan, and I don't know if that's going to change at some point. They should probably send out an email or something. Anyway, as always, we probably forgot something or got something wrong or something got announced or delayed or canceled since we shot this video, but this month we have a good excuse for being behind, and that is we're getting ready for E3, where they're going to announce all kinds of new games, and I'll have to start thinking of clever, funny ways to announce their release dates in a video 5 months from now, and also think of excuses for why we forgot to put stuff into the July video, which we'll make a month from now. As always, thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it. Actually, no, I'm a little bit mad because enough of you watched these videos that it was a success, and now they make me do one that's for all of the stuff that's coming to the different video streaming platforms. So if you want to find out what's on Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or Amazon Prime Video or Shudder or Quibbly or Gumbo or whatever they're called, if you like to watch stuff as well as play stuff, go check that out. It's on the IGN channel. Did you know that Paramount Plus is getting 1,000 movies next month? I'm not joking. 1,000. I'm not even gonna list them all. I'm gonna go take a nap. Thank you. Good night.
Mass Effect, released in 2007, set the bar for what players expected from RPGs during the 360 era. It was entirely voice-acted, used a branching conversation system that allowed for different outcomes in each situation, and promised to have narrative ties that would last the entire trilogy. Pitched over dinner by Casey Hudson as a sci-fi RPG, he believed that it would become a mainstream phenomenon and a must-have game for the Xbox 360. Fast forward 14 years later, and we're on the precipice of seeing Mass Effect Legendary Edition release on modern-day consoles and PC to much fanfare, meaning I'd say the entire BioWare team delivered on that goal. We've been given early access to some footage that showcases dramatic updates to the original Mass Effect and a peek at how Mass Effect 2 and 3 will also be improved. But let's start with a closer look at the original, the one that needed the most care, to take a look at how it's been updated. Beginning with the combat sequence, we get our first look at the updated HUD, and yes, your weapons will still use a cooldown system and not thermal clips like in Mass Effect 2 and 3. In addition, the weapons use a different reticle, and there are no longer class-specific weapon restrictions that make certain guns unusable for certain classes. But let's talk about the textures for a second. Using AI upscaling, the new look of this garage scene on Noveria is night and day when compared to the 360. The specifics may appear subtle, but one I can point out in this scene is a much more natural, soft effect of the lighting. They're using ambient occlusion in the scene, which you can see more clearly on the boxes that emit shadows. Stepping away from combat for a moment, we also got a tour of the main hub in Noveria. This footage opens with an amazing look at the new female Shepard model as she exits the elevator. The character models looked a lot better in Mass Effect 3, and with the new character model feature, you can start Mass Effect 1 as that iconic female Shepard. The lighting and camera placement is changed here too, putting you a little bit closer to the characters as they move through the levels or down elevators. The Noveria port has been heavily reworked in Legendary Edition, and you see some small elements as you exit the elevator. Couches have cushions, and the textures on the walls and concrete floors have been reworked. In the main hallway, they've added light fixtures across the entire room and even removed large pieces of geometry that previously would break up your path. Here's what BioWare's Mac Walters had to say about why the wall was removed.
The wall and why the wall came down in Noveria, right? You'll see them probably more so throughout Mass Effect 1. They were really just meant for streaming occlusion, essentially sightlines, right? In large open spaces, which we had quite a few of in Mass Effect 1. Whatever the game has to render is going to start to hit your performance. So when you have a wall there, when you come off the elevator, it just means that you don't have to show the whole level and load the whole level and have everything on screen as soon as you get off the elevator. And so the art team wanted to try taking it out, and it worked great, and I think it looks awesome.
When you reach the garage with the Mako inside, you'll also notice an additional lighting in the room and objects that have been completely remodeled. Even on the Mako, there's texture and dirt on the tires, and it looks a lot more rugged and used. Looking at the provided Mako footage is really interesting to me because this is one of the key areas of the original that needed work. The original Mako was floaty, bouncy, and while I can't comment on how the Mako controls now, as I haven't played it yet, we did get to see two driving sections. The first is directly after you leave the Noveria port, and again the new textures on the ice-covered mountain are immediately visible, but if you watch the Mako drive, you might notice some changes, like a boost feature. Here's BioWare producer Renata Cronin on how the Mako changed.
It is so much better now. We've made it better in that it handles better, it targets better. You know, we changed up the reticle when you're shooting with the Mako now so that it actually hits where you're aiming, which is very awesome, because it didn't used to do that before. You know, we've added boosters to it as well. We're still in the process of sort of tweaking it a little bit, so this clip right here is not necessarily representative of the end product, but it's got all the major improvements that we wanted. Now we're just playing around with, you know, how weighty does it feel, because it's still a little bit floaty, as you can see, but now it feels more, you know, like you're driving a tank and not, you know, the car that floats for some reason.
Later, we also got a peek at a Thresher Maw fight on Antibar that shows another gameplay addition. Yes, the Thresher Maw still moves around, but now with a trail so you have a clearer picture of where they're headed with each movement. That should result in fewer instant deaths. There's also a new sensory tentacle phase to the encounter, where you need to avoid the maw and the tentacles as you battle. At the finale, you can notice the plumes of smoke have a lot more body to them also. I'm a little more hopeful about the Mako after seeing this footage. All of this is on top of massively decreased loading times provided by hardware advances like faster hard drives. This is a side-by-side shot of the original and Legendary Edition. As you can see, you can choose to instantly be at your destination, while in the original, you would be waiting for a significant period of time. And two smaller but important systems we gotta look at were the inventory system and character creator. So the inventory system has been reworked, and it seems you can more easily sort, dismantle, and compare your gear for you and your squad mates. This also applies to the store, which looks to give you different view options depending on what you're looking to buy and sell. The character creator, which allows you to create a character before you begin playing any of the games in the trilogy, is also drastically updated. The original benefits the most from this, and I've gone back to see how close I can get the 2007 character models to the new models, but the options just aren't comparable. There are more hairstyles, more makeup options, more skin tone options, and you're really allowed to go all out. Looking at Mass Effect 2, we didn't see nearly as much, but there's a lot more detail in what we did see than I expected. The outfits have been reworked, meaning no more orange suits, and all of the outfits available in Mass Effect 3 are now available in Mass Effect 2. And while I don't have any fish at this point in my Mass Effect 2 save, what you should really be looking at is in the new game, as there are improved reflections on the tank itself.
So what we're doing there is instead of doing a screen space reflection, we're doing what's called a render to texture. So you're basically just re-rendering the world in a texture in that space. And so you have to be very careful where you can use them, because you can imagine a scenario where if you use it in the wrong space, you're basically paying twice for your rendering, right?
The rest of the Normandy benefits tremendously from the facelift. In Lair of the Shadow Broker, the lighting has changed, as you can see in the distance, but most changes in this expansion are subtle. The 4K assets are very apparent, and they may have added a depth of field effect, which I noticed on the ship. In addition, there are a few moments where the new lighting reflects off of surfaces, like at the end of this footage when the array is retracted. Here's BioWare producer Brennan Holmes with a few thoughts.
Mostly it's just graphical improvements here, right? So like on the gameplay side, it's mostly just been bug fixes for Mass 2. We're pretty happy with kind of where Mass 2 is at, but you can see sort of improved visual effects here. Lighting's a lot better. I think I could probably talk a little bit about the DLC stuff as well in here. So it's now embedded in various stores, or you can get it through upgrades in the Normandy. Like DLC is always the fun time when it's, you know, you got all your tools and everything, and everyone just kind of goes crazy. And I remember them pitching this concept around like, yeah, let's have a fight on the outside of the ship, and it'll be like, you know, in the lightning storm with all this stuff going on. And that was just a really cool concept.
And last but certainly not least is Mass Effect 3, which does benefit from all the texture updates, character model updates, and anti-aliasing improvements. But because it was so polished at launch, I asked BioWare what players can expect for the third entry in the series. Here's what Mac Walters had to say about this already stellar entry.
I think it's in the sort of global improvements where you're going to feel it in ME3. The interesting thing there is we knew that Mass Effect 1 would need the most work, but we also wanted to leave everything on the table if there were things that we really wanted to improve there. And the more we sort of dug into 3, we felt like, look, we are more at risk of taking something that was pretty damn good and making it worse, or just making a lateral move where it's different, but is it actually better? And a lot of times we just said, yeah, no, it's fine. You know, gameplay, everything is good the way it is. There were bugs, and we couldn't fix all of them, but we fixed a lot of them, sort of thing, and we would find them all throughout all 3 games, sort of thing. So I think that's another thing. And you probably would go, oh yeah, this feels less buggy. But if you were to play them side by side, you'd be like, oh, okay, yes, I see what you did there. You'd be like, oh, okay, yes, I see what you did there. Putting them all together with all of the DLC, including things like, you know, armor packs and alternate appearances and stuff like that. And when you get all of that content together, and there is less of that sort of what I would call friction in Mass Effect 1 that kind of is like, oh boy, I like it, but it's really making me work for it. It does feel like a whole experience. It together feels very obviously modernized, but it just feels more than the some of its parts.
I was already sold on playing through the series once more, and the Legendary Edition gives me the perfect opportunity. The first Mass Effect might just be my favorite game ever made because of the promise of biotic-powered gameplay, stellar storytelling unlike anything I had seen at the time, and space exploration to unique planets. I look forward to jumping back in this May. A special thank you to BioWare for providing the commentary today and for making this amazing trilogy. It is honestly a game that will always be special to me, and I'm so happy to see the amount of care going into this remaster. I'll be doing a full performance review on the final code, so keep an eye out to see how it runs on each platform. In the meantime, if you're looking for performance reviews, keep an eye on IGN Games, as myself and my colleague Michael release new episodes each week, so be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. And a personal note from me to you, thank you for watching. I just love making this series. For more on all things gaming, we've got you covered at IGN.
The guerrilla fantasy of building a revolution from scratch has been a staple of the Far Cry games, and although Far Cry 6 looks to carry on in that tradition, there's plenty of newness here too. During my hands-off preview and interview with lead designer David Gravel, I was impressed with the fresh systems the team has baked into the latest game. For a series with Far Cry's pedigree and built-in player base, they took bigger swings than they strictly needed to, from tweaking the game's outpost system to introducing the possibility of Hitman-like stealth to a wild array of cobbled-together weapons that will definitely get more into. Above all else, the game aims to put more options at your disposal than ever before. In Far Cry 6, you'll team up with a band of revolutionaries calling themselves Libertad, working to overthrow the fascist regime of El Presidente Anton Castillo, and free a Caribbean island state and Cuba-like called Yara. It's through Libertad that players learn the art of resolver, a guerrilla concept of using every resource at your disposal. The developers weren't afraid to run with that idea, to the point of sometimes taking things a little over the top, and I mean that in a good way. By scrapping together various items, you'll unlock weapons like El Pequeño, a massive minigun powered by a motorcycle engine, or a gun rigged out of an old portable CD player that blasts the Macarena while you down baddies. And let's talk Supremos, customizable super weapons you deploy from a backpack. At the preview session, they mostly showed the one that fires a barrage of rockets in all directions when you're desperate, but the game will naturally feature a number of different Supremos, including some that support a stealthy playstyle. And stealth has a new meaning in Far Cry 6 as well. There's a holstering system this time around, and in-game checkpoints the player can talk, bribe, or shoot their way through. It's now a legitimate option to blend in and lay low, until you don't. Once the S hits the F, you'll be able to make your getaway in a slew of new ways. You could take a guerrilla path, one of Libertad's hidden corridors through the dense jungle, hop into one of your customizable rides complete with jets coming out of the exhaust, or mount your horse and disappear into the hills. Speaking of horses, Far Cry 6 seems to have taken a page out of Red Dead 2's book, adding camp activities to the bases you unlock and develop, giving players more of a reason to hang out at HQ. Animal companions are also back, with at least 2 spotted in preview footage. There's Guapo, an alligator with a taste for man flesh.
Good grok.
And Chorizo, an adorable little doggy used to distract enemies during stealth runs. We were also promised that FND bases, what this game calls outposts, have been varied in an attempt to refresh the time-honored Ubisoft tradition of killing some dudes and changing the color of that part of the map. That said, we didn't get to see a base takeover in action, so how much these tweaks really alter remains to be seen. But it's clear that the Far Cry 6 team have taken some risks with the formula, while maintaining the core gameplay elements they've refined over the years. Yara's unique mashup of Far Cry's standard jungle environments and an aging Comunista city-state is already a bold move, and like the Yarans themselves, the dev team seem to have taken that momentum and tried their best to utilize every part of the animal. We'll see if the borderline zany combat clashes with what seems to be the fairly serious tone of the storyline, but ultimately, I'm excited to see such a well-worn franchise trying out a few new maneuvers, and I definitely left the preview session more excited for Far Cry 6. David Gravel also led the Far Cry Primal team, so he's no stranger to unique entries in the series. It looks like he's bringing the same sort of originality to this game, beefed up with the systems introduced in 5 and plenty of new ones to boot. Hopefully, it all comes together and makes for a wild, dictator-deposing ride. For more on the world of Yara, the complete written version of this preview, and everything Far Cry 6, hit up IGN.
Good boy.
12 years ago, a small development team owned by Valve known as Valve South dropped a little game called Left 4 Dead, a zombie-themed co-op first-person shooter that pit 4 players against a zombie horde and forced them to look out for the group as opposed to just looking out for the individual if they hope to survive. This helped give birth to a whole new subgenre of co-op survival first-person shooters. And while Valve continued the legacy with Left 4 Dead 2, the original developers of Left 4 Dead, now reformed as Turtle Rock Studios, had not returned to the genre that they helped pioneer. That changes with Back 4 Blood, an appropriately titled 4-player zombie-themed co-op survival shooter that goes into closed alpha testing starting today. And if my early impressions are anything to go off of, it's good to have Turtle Rock back where they belong. So much of Back 4 Blood is directly inspired by Left 4 Dead that I think it's actually important to lead off with the areas in which it tries to be different. And nowhere is that more apparent than in its deck building system. In Back 4 Blood, you actually build a deck of cards that you take in with you to each level. These cards are broken into 4 categories: Reflex, Discipline, Brawn, and Fortune. Reflex cards typically focus on granting bonuses to speed or stamina. Discipline cards are all about efficiency, so they offer buffs that give better accuracy, better healing, more ammo, and so on. Brawn cards buff your health, damage, and resistances. And finally, Fortune cards focus on cards that give you a % chance of something happening, along with other general utility-focused boons, like the ability to have unlimited ammo on your secondary weapon, or being able to shoot while sprinting. You select 15 of these cards to build your deck, and at the beginning of every level, you'll draw 3 and pick 1 card 4 times. And those 4 cards that you choose will be your starting set of active buffs and boons that you'll take with you into the first part of the level. Every time you hit a safe room and move on to the next act, you'll be able to add another active card into the mix. On the flip side of that though are the corruption cards, played by the game's AI director. Each level begins with a selection of corruption cards that inform the players of what enemies and obstacles they can expect to face. Just like how you're able to add new active cards at the beginning of every new act, there are also new corruption cards that are added that will throw a new curveball at you. Whether it be fog that makes it harder to see faraway threats, more zombie hordes, a giant ogre that you have to fight right at the start of the act, and so on. The limited nature of the alpha prevented me from really seeing the depth of the deck system, since there's only really one level and a relatively small selection of corruption cards that can change up how the level is played, but the idea seems really promising, especially the interplay between being able to see what corruption cards are coming up and then being able to plan out with your team what active cards you want to bring in into the next act as a way to prepare. It adds another layer of teamwork and coordination, since you have to ensure that you're not doubling up on cards and have all your bases covered. Another big change to the formula is the addition of a mini shop at the beginning of each new act. Instead of being gifted with new weapons and items at a safe house, instead you're given the opportunity to choose what you want to outfit yourself with before moving on. You do this with a resource called copper, which you can find out in the levels themselves in scarce amounts. This is actually a pretty big change, since you no longer find any sort of health or item pickups in safe rooms. It's up to you to purchase them all for yourself, and if you don't have the 500 copper to afford a first aid kit, you're gonna have to make the tough decision of whether you want to save that copper for the next act, or use what you have to load up on ammo, grenades, or whatever else you can afford. Everything else is pretty much as you would expect of a co-op zombie survival shooter developed by the team that essentially brought the genre into existence. You'll need to stick together with your team, since there are special zombies that can incapacitate and eventually kill you if you're not assisted by a teammate. Wretches behave almost identically to boomers and will explode in a burst of bile that can attract the horde. Hawkers spit loogies at you that can slow you down and potentially lock you in place. And snitches will creep around until they're startled, at which point they'll alert the horde if not killed fast enough. And then there are the giant zombies like the ogre, which seem nearly indestructible and force my team to turn tail and run if we wanted to live to fight another day. Likewise, the one level that we got to play was also very reminiscent of Left 4 Dead in terms of its structure and objectives. In one part, we had to hold strong against a bunch of zombies while a loud gravel filler dropped enough rocks to give us a ramp to scurry up to climb over a wall, and in another, we had to blast away a propane tank and then book it across a collapsed bridge in order to escape the pursuing zombie horde attracted by the noise. And then there's also some interesting set pieces that felt completely new. Being forced to contend with a giant ogre while also trying to find a way through a cluttered tunnel was all sorts of stressful in the best kind of way. And having to split up the team to plant 2 bombs on a cruise liner while 2 others hung back and provided cover with mounted turrets was a nice climatic way to cap off the level. It's also worth mentioning that despite going through the campaign 3 times, no 2 runs ever felt the same. Obviously, the card system does a lot of that heavy lifting by changing things up every act, but on a base level, there's a ton of randomization at play in terms of enemy and item placements. Certain rooms that were completely empty on one run would be chock full of zombies on another. Doors that were once completely safe to open might now have an alarm that triggers the horde if you carelessly open them. There's just a ton of stuff happening under the hood to ensure that these levels are as replayable as they can be. Overall, my first experience with Back 4 Blood felt like just the right balance between old and familiar and new and fresh. Turtle Rock obviously knows this genre inside and out, and the ways in which they're emphasizing player choice through deck customization and vendors at the end of every act feels like a smart shift in direction that still stays true to its roots. Thanks for watching, and for more Back 4 Blood, keep it here on IGN.
From Disney heroes like Iron Man and Mickey Mouse, to spiky-haired soldiers with buster swords and uncomfortably long-limbed creepy hat creatures, few publishers have as varied a portfolio to show off as Square Enix. Square had quite the wild 12 months, with long-awaited and long-delayed games finally seeing the light. Let's take a look back, and content warning, I hope you aren't already sick of the words Final Fantasy, because you may be after we've finished here. First though, I'm going to cheat. Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, which technically did come out over 12 months ago now, but it just doesn't feel right to talk about Square's year without it. Not only was the long-awaited RPG a critical success, but it went a long way towards ensuring Square was a profitable company in 2020. In fact, it did so well that the company's releasing it again this month as Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, complete with PS5 improvements and new story content centered around everyone's favourite materia thief, Yuffie. But what about the next full part of that remake? With no word on when to expect it, maybe a reveal is an outside bet for what we could see at this E3 showcase. There's plenty more Final Fantasy VII to tide us over until then though, with both the First Soldier and Ever Crisis recently revealed. The former, a mobile battle royale game, and the latter another, yes really, remake of Final Fantasy VII, this time reverting back to its traditional turn-based combat. Is that enough Final Fantasy for you? Well, Square certainly doesn't think so.
Isn't that what you want?
The past 12 months has seen the continued resurgence of Final Fantasy XIV Online, with more players joining the MMO than ever, an upgraded version released, plus the announcement of the Endwalker expansion coming later in 2021 that will take players to the moon. Insert, that wizard came from the moon joke here. Yes, we are almost halfway through this thing, but there's still more Final Fantasy to talk about. I did warn you. Revealed at September's PlayStation 5 event, Final Fantasy XVI looks to be bringing the series back to its more medieval fantasy roots. With little known apart from some backstory about the game's fictional setting of Valisthea, there's plenty more we'd love to find out, and this year's E3 looks like the perfect place to do that. And now for something completely different. Last summer saw the long-awaited arrival of Marvel's Avengers, which really did turn out to be a game of two halves. Crystal Dynamics' interpretations of beloved superheroes and the single-player campaign that introduced us to them was a fun, action-packed 6 to 8 hours. Sadly, its post-game, gear-chasing online component didn't really live up to billing. It's been a rocky few months since launch for Avengers, with a dwindling player base and lack of content, two major issues for any live service game. There is a potential saviour on the horizon though, in the form of Black Panther. The War for Wakanda expansion is set to drop later this year, which needs to give players enough reason to flood back in order to steady the ship. Square does at least have form here. It more than made up for a troubled start to Final Fantasy XIV's life. Let's hope the same attitude is applied here. It's not all been doom and gloom. People Can Fly's looter shooter Outriders hit the spot for many thanks to its power trip combat and addictive gear loop. People Can Fly's previously teased big expansions that will add to Outriders' story, so that's something to keep an eye out for this E3. Near Replicant version 1.2247448713 ... showed off more unique delights from the mind of Yoko Taro with this upgraded version of the Nier Automata prequel. Bravely Default 2 gave us a beautiful RPG to play on the Nintendo Switch, and rhythm action spin-off Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory hit all the nostalgic notes it needed to. And then there was Balan Wonderworld. maybe less said about that one the better. So what can we expect from Square Enix soon? We know that Life is Strange True Colors is due to come out in September, and while we've got a decent look at it recently, a reveal of this entry's spin on the series' gameplay seems like something we'll see soon. Neo: The World Ends With You, the long-awaited sequel to the 2007 action RPG The World Ends With You, is arriving as soon as July. Plus Babylon's Fall, the painterly looking epic full of trademark Platinum Games action that we've heard pretty much nothing about since this time last year. Surely it must be time to see more. Then there are the games currently scheduled for 2022. Project Athia was recently retitled as Forspoken, another game we know very little about apart from a post-apocalyptic setting and an abundance of dragons. Then there's Project Triangle Strategy, the spiritual successor to Octopath Traveler that hasn't even been given a proper title yet, but has received a full playable proof of concept demo. These are both games we'd love to know more about, but wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear anything for a while yet. So that's everything we know is going on in the world of Square Enix, but what about the reveals we can only guess at right now? It's always fun to speculate, right? So let's have a go at it. It's been a couple of years now since we've heard what Lara Croft is up to. Has the time come for Tomb Raider to make a comeback at this E3? Yoko Taro has confirmed he's begun work on a new game that he, quote, has no idea how to explain or sell. Might be a bit of a long shot to see it right now, but you never do know with him. There's also Deus Ex and Thief, franchises with passionate fan bases who would surely love to see more. The truth is, there's no way of knowing until Square shares all with the world this summer, although surely they don't have yet another Final Fantasy game to announce just yet. Surely. One thing is for certain though, very few publishers are able to match the variety that Square Enix offers on a yearly basis, and you can more or less guarantee that that will continue.
The PS5 and Xbox Series X have only been available for 6 months, but already the newest generation of consoles has been a busy one. From big exclusives to console updates and problems to much more, PlayStation and Xbox's newest consoles are off to a fascinating start. How have they stacked up so far, and has much changed since launch day? Well, IGN's Jonathan Dornbush and Ryan McCaffrey are here to answer just that, starting things off with a look at next-gen exclusives that have launched in the last few months.
So I'd say it's been pretty quiet across the board for next-gen games since both of these consoles launched last November, but at least on Sony's side, I think like with launch day, they've been doing a little better than Xbox on the exclusive games front. We've gotten Destruction All-Stars, which launched in February, and while it definitely had a bit of a light launch, they've been adding to it and improving it and definitely supporting it since that launch day. And then of course in April, we got Returnal from Housemarque, and though there have been a lot of talk about whether or not it should have some save states in it, it definitely showed that Housemarque can make a pretty impressive third-person action game that really takes advantage of what the PS5 is doing and things like the DualSense and 3D audio. It's a really nice mix of showing off what a next-gen game can be.
Sadly, still, big system-selling games remain the Achilles heel for Microsoft. We're 6 months in, and there is exactly one game that is completely exclusive to the next-gen Xbox, meaning not available on PlayStation, not available on Xbox One. That game's The Medium. And, hey, it's a good game, but it's not exactly, pumping as much next-gen iron in the gym as, say, Returnal is or Demon's Souls. But still, first-party reinforcements are coming for Microsoft, and the good news is, once they finally do arrive, it's probably never gonna stop again. I mean, they bought Bethesda after all. It's a lot of reinforcements. They are gonna kick it off. They got this year. So Microsoft Flight Simulator, which looks like it's gonna be a next-gen only release on console. And then of course, Halo Infinite in the fall. On the Bethesda side, we're still not quite sure what's gonna happen with Starfield. Is it gonna be exclusive? Is there some sort of deal there with Sony like there was with Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo? But if indeed Starfield is exclusive, that is going to be the ace of Microsoft's sleeve. You've got a new Todd Howard game that could be exclusive to Xbox. But Jonathan, one area where Microsoft obviously wins by a one-punch TKO, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out style, is game subscription services. Xbox Game Pass is so good, my friend, that it has actually stolen one of your exclusives. MLB The Show, is on Game Pass on Xbox, and it used to be, of course, a complete and total Sony exclusive. So that's awesome. Other cool stuff recently, you've got the previously Switch exclusive Octopath Traveler, Destiny 2, more. It just keeps coming. All that stuff has helped keep us entertained while we're still waiting on the big exclusives on the Microsoft side. And even better, xCloud is now rolling out to iOS devices, to Apple stuff, so that pretty soon, anybody with a smartphone, which is basically everyone, that has a Game Pass Ultimate subscription is going to be able to play their games not only on their console, but from anywhere through their phone at no extra cost for Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. That's just a totally impossible to ignore force in the entire games industry when you take all of that as a whole. Now, if only games with gold didn't suck now, but, you know, I can't really complain.
It is definitely a strange time to say a PlayStation-developed game costs more on PlayStation than on Xbox if you have subscription services on both. It is a very strange place to be, and it's of course, you're completely right. You can't compare what PlayStation's offering to Game Pass. Just nothing stacks up. But at least in a vacuum, thinking of what PlayStation players have been dealing with, things have been largely the same getting into the PS5 generation, but at the very least, I'd say PlayStation Plus's games lineup each month has been a lot better. Definitely when they pared down the lineup of games on PS Plus from 6 down to 2, they didn't really find a way to up the value there or, you know, keep the value the same, and for a while, PS Plus kind of felt like a waste with those games. But thankfully, since the launch of the PS5, we've gotten almost a brand new PlayStation 5 game every month on PS Plus as part of that lineup. Stuff like Destruction All-Stars, Bugsnax, Oddworld Soulstorm, and Maquette. Obviously, again, it does not compare to the game after game that is coming to Game Pass, but at least taken for what PS Plus was, it's nice to see them adding a little bit of value. Of course, probably the closest thing to Game Pass that PlayStation actually does offer is PlayStation Now, but they really haven't brought that service into the generation of the PS5. You can play it on PS5, but they don't allow PlayStation 5 games yet to be a part of the service, and this really came to a head when they added Borderlands 3 and Marvel's Avengers to PlayStation Now, but only the PS4 versions. It's strange, especially to be in a place where there is a subscription service that does have a library of games and does span genres that PlayStation could really be bolstering, but it just doesn't match up to what Game Pass offers, and it's becoming painfully more clear as the months go on. Now, on the peripheral side, talking about things being a little bit the same as what we've gotten before, the PlayStation 5 launched with a decent amount of peripheral support, like a pretty good charging station that was kind of in the look and feel of the PS5's new, very ostentatious design. We got the Pulse 3D headset that takes a really great advantage of the built-in 3D audio of the PS5 and is really affordable, especially compared to some other high-end headphones, and, you know, a few things like that, including the media remote, the one peripheral we've all been trying to actually get our hands on. And while we only had the single option for the DualSense controller at launch, luckily PlayStation has revealed that we are getting 2 new colors to add to the DualSense lineup. Those include Cosmic Red, which is a red and black colorway, as well as a Midnight Black colorway, which is entirely black and aligned a little bit more with past PlayStation controllers at launch. So those are 2 options that we know of right now, and Sony definitely loves to introduce new colors as generations go on, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is just the start. We haven't quite been able to get any sense of what's to come other than some PlayStation VR new controllers that'll be on the horizon, but that is way down the line. At the very least, third-party headsets are compatible with the PlayStation 5, so if you're not a fan of the Pulse headset but do want to take advantage of 3D audio, there are some other options for you. Unfortunately, I think the biggest thing when it comes to PS5 and peripherals is an advantage the PlayStation is supposed to have over Xbox, but just hasn't happened yet, and that is a more accessible opportunity to get expandable storage. PlayStation has said the PS5 will be compatible with third-party drives that, as long as they match the speeds of the internal SSD, players will be able to expand that internal storage. But we don't have information about what drives those will be, from what companies, when that will be incorporated into the PlayStation 5. We're just kind of left waiting, and that's really a big problem when there are only 667 gigs of available data on the PS5 at launch. That's maybe 2 Call of Duties these days. It really doesn't stack up to being much in the long run, and so that's already a problem we're getting to 6 months in, of a lot of people having to play Tetris with their game files basically on their hard drive. So hopefully that gets resolved soon, and I do think that will be an advantage the PS5 will have over Xbox, but as of right now, it really isn't.
Yeah, for now, Microsoft's got their 1 terabyte storage card. I've got one in there. In fact, I'm already onto it because these big games of this new generation take up a lot of space. So it's good to have, even if it's expensive. Now, since launch, though, Microsoft has added the new Xbox wireless headset, which is roughly an analog to the Pulse 3D headset for Sony. I really like it a lot. It's, I think, for $100, which is what it cost. I think you get a lot for your money. It sounds good. I like the minimalist design. And what I really like is that it can be paired with your smartphone at the same time, or any Bluetooth device, and so you can actually be chatting on Discord with your friends while also playing an Xbox game and getting the audio from your Xbox at the same time, which is pretty cool. Microsoft removed the optical port from the Xbox Series X, just like Sony did with the PS5, so we kind of needed this. It was a little bit of a bummer it wasn't there at launch, but now there is this good option, so that's really good. Plus, I want to give a special shout out to Microsoft for pumping out a whole bunch of cool new colors since launch for their controllers. I've got the Pulse Red one right here. It's nice to have something besides just the default black, so I appreciate them for that. But Jonathan, controller colors aren't the only things being updated, the consoles are too. Now on the Xbox side, the Series X actually hasn't really had any major updates because it hasn't needed them. Pretty much all the functionality that was needed was right there on day one, which is great, but Microsoft still added some good stuff. Most notably, Quick Resume has been improved, and there's a new optional suspend mode that can help speed up your game downloads, which, as we talked about, these games are huge, so being able to speed those up is always appreciated. And then probably the coolest one of all is FPS Boost, the backwards compatibility team continuing to crush it at Microsoft. There are now almost 100, as we record this, almost 100 backward compatible games that are boosted up to either 60 frames per second if they were originally 30, and some games even go up to 120 frames per second, like Titanfall 2, which is one of the best games of the last 5-10 years, which rocks. We've also seen Microsoft drop the Xbox Live subscription requirement for over 50 free-to-play games, which I do admit, that's more of a course correction than a welcome new addition, but still great.
Yeah, it's always good to see advancement like that. That was definitely something that happened with PlayStation finally allowing crossplay last generation. I very much understand. Yeah, the PlayStation is in a very different place because whereas Xbox sort of unified its UI across generations and made everything very familiar for jumping into the Series X, PlayStation opted to do a brand new user interface. And while it's certainly cool to have a new nice and shiny UI to look at launch, that means some new problems come up that maybe PlayStation had fixed on the PS4 even years ago. So we're in a bit of a strange place, but we did thankfully get our first really big PS5 major software update in April, I believe it was, and with that came a few important and needed updates, such as allowing support for 120Hz displays, and finally the ability to store PS5 games on USB expanded storage, You can't still play it off of that, but at least you can actually put PS5 games somewhere other than the internal SSD. And there were a few other added social and interface features that really helped improve things that people have been having issues with since launch. But that said, even with that update, there are still a lot of things fans are asking for. I think, especially after Returnal, we're seeing a lot of ask for some sort of quick resume analogous feature to come to PlayStation. There have been things like wanting variable refresh rate to come, the expandable storage issues I mentioned before, and of course even just small things that have popped up since launch, like people are pretty unhappy with the way trophies are presented on PlayStation 5 because it's clunkier than they were on PS4, and it didn't need to be. So there's definitely some work that's going to have to go into the PS5's UI in the months to come. And so it's been really great to see PlayStation addressing things already with an update like that one in April and some smaller performance updates, both for the system and the DualSense since the PlayStation 5 launched in November. But that said, this whole span since that launch hasn't exactly been the smoothest for the PS5. Now, thankfully, there hasn't been anything that is as ubiquitous or widespread as the Red Ring of Death from the Xbox 360 era, but pretty much since launch day, there was sort of a whack-a-mole situation going on where a new PS5 issue seemed to crop up up every few days, and so it's been hard to say what are the most proliferated issues that players been having, how much of the player base actually saw these, but definitely one of the ones that we've seen stick around is DualSense controller drift. We've definitely seen some stick drift there that PlayStation is now facing a class action lawsuit because of, very similarly to Nintendo with the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con drift. That said, there have been a few other issues, such as rest mode bugs and occasionally downloading the PS4 version of the game when you wanted the PS5 version, but thankfully, again, nothing has been catastrophic across the board, but it's been a sort of strange, oh, what's that new issue I'm hearing about today?
On the Xbox side here, Series X owners complaining here and there of controller drift again and random disconnects. But other than that, really, the console's been pretty much working as designed. It is quiet, it is cool, it is powerful. There haven't been any major OS issues, crashes, any other real problems of note that I've seen out in the community. Basically, I would say it's been pretty smooth sailing on the Xbox side. In fact, probably the best launch Microsoft could have possibly hoped for on the hardware side, outside of the very obvious and very frustrating and sadly very ongoing supply issues.
And there you have it. The first 6 months of the newest console generation are behind us. Of course, there is plenty more ahead, and we'll be covering all the latest news, releases, and more on IGN as well as on our weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch. Be sure to tune in, follow along with us as the journey of the PS5 and Xbox Series X continues, and keep it locked to IGN.
I doubt you could even imagine it. That which commanded the stars, giving life its fullest brilliance. The Elden Ring. Oh, Elden Ring. Shattered by someone or something. Don't tell me you don't see it. Look up at the sky. It burns. The world is filled with stories of legendary heroes and treacherous villains, of fantastical creatures and wondrous places where nature and magic live in perfect harmony. Not all stories have happy endings. But yours has yet to be written.
IGN's Summer of Gaming has officially partnered with E3 2021 for the ultimate team-up. From direct access to the major gaming press conferences at E3 2021, with exclusive gameplay and reveals, to exciting first looks at the hottest new games, IGN's Summer of Gaming has it all. On the docket today, Xbox is about to unleash a torrent of next-gen news for Series X and S owners, and hopefully, something to get the rest of you excited to boot. Microsoft recently acquired Bethesda Lock, Stock, and Barrel, who are expected to be on hand, so look forward to some big news from them. Not to mention everything else Team Xbox has been cooking up across their increasingly interconnected series of platforms. And of course, we're all waiting for some updates on the games we've been longing to play all through quarantine. Is this the day we'll finally see what's in store for Master Chief in Halo Infinite? Will Fable make its long-awaited return to the Series X? Will Forza...
Fala galera da Tech Games BR, estamos de volta, faltam 28 minutos pro início da live mais top que tá para começar aqui no canal dessa E3 desse ano de 2021. Vamos acompanhando aí enquanto isso.
Welcome everyone to IGN's Summer of Gaming. This is the unlocked pre-show for the massive Xbox and Bethesda conference coming up in just a little while. I'm Ryan McCaffrey. I'm wearing my Sunday best. I hope you are too. I'm your host, and with me to discuss all things Xbox are my friends Miranda Sanchez, Destin Legary, and Cam Hawkins. Also, by the way, in the chat, we have Jada, so make sure to say hi if you're in there. Thanks to all three of you for being here.
Bam! I'm excited. Let's go.
It's the best time of the year, baby. Let's do this.
Now, before we get rolling, there is plenty of chatter to be had here in the next 20-something minutes before we get to the conference itself. I just want to make sure that everybody at home knows that our Summer of Gaming coverage exists everywhere over at IGN.com, YouTube, social media, and now even on smart...
Bom, nós temos aí os minutos que antecedem o início dessa live. Essa live de hoje é muito importante. Nós teremos aí a Bethesda e a Microsoft, né, o seu Xbox, trazendo novidades para essa E3, novidades para o futuro principalmente. Olha lá, então nós temos aí, ó, temos... Eles erraram ali o calendário deles, o nosso calendário está correto.
So we compiled a list before we got on the air here of all the major studios that Xbox now has and what we either know they're all doing or what we think they're all up to. So we're just going to kind of take turns here and just catch you all up real quick. Just to, again, contextualize, this is how big Microsoft's first-party portfolio is. So you've got 343, of course, doing Halo. You've got Arcane doing Deathloop. You've got Bethesda Game Studios itself, Todd Howard's team, doing Starfield, which I certainly hope to see today. Coalition, all but confirmed to be doing Gears of War 6. And Compulsion Games, they're one of the studios that we haven't heard from yet. We didn't hear from them last summer, so we'll see if we hear anything from them today. Destin, take the baton. Who else is out there in Xbox land?
Yeah, we got Double Fine working on Psychonauts 2.
Galera, vem aqui enquanto isso.
Id Software
forever, Minecraft. Then we have Ninja Theory, and their currently known projects, of course, is Hellblade 2. Very excited about that. Project Mara and the Insight Project. So they've got a lot on their plate right now as well. Then we also have Obsidian Entertainment, and we currently know that they are on Avowed, and of course, ongoing with Grounded. And then we have Playground Games, which we know they're working on with Fable, finally confirmed. And then, of course, they're rumored to have another Forza Horizon on their way. So we will see what happens there. And then Cam, you want to round us out with the last few, which is there's so many. There's so many.
Yeah, so we got Rare working on Everwild, along with Sea of Thieves, of course. We got Tango Gameworks working on Ghostwire Tokyo, Turn 10 working on the next Forza Motorsport, Undead Labs with State of Decay 3, and ZeniMax Online Studios with The Elder Scrolls Online.
So yeah, I mean, there's your quick recap. Even that took us like 2 minutes just to get through all the studios of the known projects, or the projects we're reasonably confident about.
Eles estão comentando aí das novidades que vão aparecer aí para esse E3. Temos possivelmente um anúncio de Fable, né? Fable tá para começar a ter os seus rumores aqui. Então vamos ver como é que vai ser essa apresentação de hoje, né? Uma apresentação muito importante da C3, né? A Xbox com a Bethesda. Vamos ver. A gente tem mais ainda. Hoje temos uma jornada longa aqui, já temos 2 horas de live, mas temos uma jornada muito longa hoje. E principalmente, desde ontem, né? Então tivemos Ubisoft, hoje Xbox e Bethesda. Tivemos a Guerrilla, mas foi bem decepcionante. E temos os próximos dias até o dia 15 aqui no canal, né? Então vamos conferir o que eles vão falando.
So once they address that, though, I really hope they go into Halo multiplayer. I would love to just know more about what they're going to do with Halo. How are they going to be changing multiplayer? They've been teasing a new mode, but we don't really know much about it. So I would love to see that.
Miranda?
I want to see the Chief get the glory he deserves. This is Master Chief. This is a new console. They need to come out and say, this is what we've been doing. Exactly as Destin said, they need to show off what work they've put in. I think they have a great foundation. I'm really excited about what they showed us before, but now they need to come back and say, okay, we spent all this time, and here are the big changes.
Cam, what do you want to see from Halo today?
I need to see more of the campaign. I need to see more of the single player. I think that's what 343 and Xbox need to do to sell this game. I'm not worried about the multiplayer. Halo has never had a bad multiplayer. So I'm even Halo 5, didn't have a great campaign, but the multiplayer, you could argue, is the best in the series so far.
Yes.
So that's what I want to see. I want to see, hey, this is why you need to be excited for the campaign, because when it comes to new Halo games, the campaign is what sells the game, I think, for a lot of people. Like it is one of those first-person shooters where you expect a high-quality campaign alongside its multiplayer. That's what they need to show. That's what they need to show. Like this is Halo Infinite.
Well said, my friend. Well said. I've got 2 words for what I want to see. Blood Gulch. Bring it back, please. It's in Fortnite, so to me that's a good sign. We'll see. All right. Now the other big ace up Microsoft's sleeve is an acquisition, that of course being Bethesda, and specifically the new Todd Howard and team game, Starfield. Miranda, will we see it today? Is it the closer? Is it the opener? Do they just come out punching with that? How much of it do you think we'll see?
We have to see it, right? Like, we have to have some sort of update. Like, I feel like if Bethesda was going to do their own conference this year, Starfield would be front and center. They can't show Elder Scrolls. That's maybe forever away. So Starfield has to be it. I know with the pandemic, a lot of things have been delayed and production's been slowed down. Very understandable, but I could absolutely see them saying, hey, we're Bethesda. We like to do this thing where we show our games and then they're out. And so that's what I'm hoping with Starfield. But I'm also hoping that it is not at the top of the show. I'm hoping it's somewhere in the middle, a good pacing, because at the end, I want them to have another surprise for us. I don't want it to be Starfield. I want more.
I like it. Cam, how about you? What are you hoping for with Starfield today?
Yeah, I agree completely. I want this to be seen as a new RPG that will have something that will stand out compared to Fallout and Elder Scrolls, that isn't just, oh, this is a Bethesda Softworks RPG in space. I want to see the world building. I want to see, I want to be able to get a trailer and get something where I can pick out pieces and theorize on what this world is about, what the society, like the societal things behind it, what we can expect from a world building and lore perspective. Gameplay, I would love to see. I don't know. I honestly don't know if we're going to see gameplay today, but I hope so, and I hope that it stands out as a unique RPG experience compared to other sci-fi RPGs that we know and love.
Destin, you have been super excited for the very first officially announced Xbox Series X game, which is Hellblade 2. You think today's the day we finally see gameplay from that one?
I don't know about Hellblade 2, but real quick on Starfield, I absolutely think we see gameplay today. They overhauled the creation engine. I am super stoked on that one. Bringing it back to Hellblade 2. Man, they're working in Unreal Engine 5. They've been doing all these teases. The lead actress, Jurgens, has been doing all this behind-the-scenes stuff where she shows like how much work she has been putting into that character. And I would love to see anything else, like even a teaser of how much work that they put into Hellblade 2, I would adore seeing, because the game already looks gorgeous based on this footage in Unreal Engine 5. I want to see more. They might also talk about Project Mara, which is another thing that they're working on.
Miranda, in about 30 seconds, how about you? Where's your hype level for Hellblade 2 at this point?
Oh my gosh. This trailer that we're watching slayed me. It was so freaking good. That music, I was like, excuse me? I listened to that so many times after. I was like, I am immensely excited to see what they have for Hellblade 2. So I hope we get another like banger trailer like they did last time.
Cam, 10 seconds or so. Quick Twitter-worthy thoughts of Hellblade 2.
I don't think we're going to get gameplay if we get a trailer. I'm super excited, but it's on Unreal 5, so I think it's going to take some time till we see some gameplay.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I mean, Unreal 5 has just gone out to developers. We know it's still in development, and so is the game, obviously. But it seems like it is finally time to see gameplay from Hellblade 2. So I'm eager to see that. Coming up in just a minute, we'll talk about the indie games we are most excited to see, because there's a quite handful of them. In fact, I've got an exclusive preview of Tunic on IGN right now. That demo is dropping on Tuesday. So be sure to play that on your Xbox exclusively starting on Tuesday, along with a bunch of other indie game demos that are dropping on Tuesday as well. All right, we will be right back. We've got plenty more pre-show for you heading into the big Xbox event coming up right after this.
IGN Summer of Gaming 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance and Army National Guard. Pursue multiple paths while you serve. Reach your greatest potential with Army National Guard. And by the Amazon original movie, The Tomorrow War, exclusively on Prime Video July 2nd. And powered by Duracell Optimum, the official battery sponsor of Summer of Gaming 2021.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises.
Bom, nós tivemos aí a apresentação deles, ali o pre-show deles. Então nós aqui na Tech Games BR fazemos a cobertura brasileira, né, da E3 e da Summer of Gaming. É sensacional, está sendo um momento ímpar para nós aqui na Tech Games BR estar fazendo essa cobertura depois de muitos anos que a gente não faz uma cobertura de novo da E3. A nossa primeira cobertura foi em 2017, então nós estamos retornando aqui para o canal a trazer a cobertura na íntegra da E3. É um momento novo no canal, uma fase nova do canal. Então nós aqui estamos extremamente contentes de trazer para você toda essa revolução aqui para o canal. E logo mais nós teremos aí o início da E3. Vocês podem ver que eu estou de casaco, está frio aqui na cidade de Taubaté. Então logo mais, faltam 15 minutos aqui, nós teremos a cobertura da E3, fazendo comentários durante as exibições, trazendo tudo bem explicado, traduzindo ali o que é mais importante e relevante para vocês aqui na tela da Tech Games BR, a casa do gamer. Então, dentro de 15 minutos, nós voltamos aqui para falar com vocês e vamos ver aqui por enquanto algumas propagandas do canal, dos nossos patrocinadores. Tech Games BR, a Casa do Gamer, é uma produção e um patrocínio da Horus Produtor.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania,
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School,
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhor seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a Casa do Gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania,
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School,
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania,
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School,
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhor seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E à noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a casa do gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.
Fase nova ativada.
A seguir na Tech Games.
É isso mesmo, a Tech Games está de cara nova. Novos quadros, nova cara, novos temas. Se liga na nossa programação. Toda segunda,
Nerd Mania,
trazendo tudo da cultura geek, música, filmes, livros e muito mais. Terças-feiras, Co-op, trazendo gameplays de games retrô e games novos, além de novidades de games cooperativos. E à noite,
Tech School,
trazendo tutoriais, videoaulas e dicas para melhor seu conhecimento na área de PCs e consoles. Durante a semana, direto da redação, trazendo em até 1 minuto novidades que estão rolando no dia. Sábado, a sua noite termina com o podcast Tech Games BR no ar, trazendo o que foi relevante na semana para você, além de convidados para o quadro. Domingo, o seu domingo começa com o quadro Game Room, trazendo todos os lançamentos do mundo dos games, tecnologia e muito mais informação para começar bem o domingo. E noite, Ponto de Impacto, trazendo todas as novidades do mundo da tecnologia, análises, opinião e muita informação. Novos quadros, novo estilo, nova fase.
Tech Games BR, a casa do gamer.
Uma produção Horus Produtora.
And, you know, it's been so long since Skyrim came out. I believe it was 2011 when it came out, and I am dying for a new Elder Scrolls game. What are you looking forward to? Let us know in the chat. I'm Cam11B, member of the Army National Guard. You can find us both here on Twitch.
Welcome back. We are just a few minutes away from the start of the Xbox Bethesda conference, so let's talk about the awesome third-party games that we are expecting to see. We've got confirmation. We know we're seeing the Battlefield 2042 gameplay reveal there after getting a cinematic teaser. So I want to start there with Cam. Battlefield 2042. How hyped are you from that CG trailer, and how insane do you think this is going to look on the next generation Frostbite engine, Cam?
It looks incredible. Like Battlefield games always look incredible visually. I personally am not super big into the Battlefield franchise myself, but like seeing those big team battles and seeing them in action, I'm listening. You know, like I'm interested in seeing more. I want to potentially jump in. Like it sold me. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that Battlefield really hasn't done in a very long time. So I'm looking forward to it.
Miranda, Elden Ring. We have to keep the audience happy by bringing up Elden Ring because it is probably the most anticipated game that's not a first-party exclusive somewhere. We got to see it. We got that killer gameplay trailer at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. Do you think we get an extended gameplay demo here on Microsoft stage today?
You know, that would be really cool, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think they're like, all we can do is show this one thing, which is a lot. There's so much to dig into there, but I think asking for gameplay it's just too far. Asking for an extended trailer would be nice, but I don't believe it's gonna happen based on how they've been talking about it, or lack of talking about it, or showing it in any way prior to this.
Destin, do you share Miranda's pessimism on this, or do you think today is the day, since it did debut on the Xbox stage a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think we actually do get to see a little bit more of Elden Ring, potentially a short gameplay segment. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw more of it, because they had their big reveal on Keighley's thing. They're just not going to have another beat during E3. I mean, Xbox is the stage where it makes the most sense to talk more about this game.
Now, we've also had confirmation this morning that we're going to see more Far Cry 6. Ubisoft tweeting that out this morning, so expect to see that on stage here today at the Xbox Bethesda conference. But there's another big third-party game, and this one is exclusive, that I want to talk about for a second. Destin, I'll start with you. That is Stalker 2. This is a game that is a sequel to an absolutely beloved and critically acclaimed first-person shooter it was a PC exclusive years ago. Now it's coming to PC and Xbox Series X, and this thing has done millions of views on IGN. Like this, I feel like it's kind of going under the radar, even though it's getting, like, people are clicking on it like crazy. They want to see it, but you think we'll get a proper gameplay demo of Stalker 2 today?
Well, I mean, the last time we saw it, they showed like how the models can be changed very easily and everything. But this game has been a technical showpiece for Xbox specifically when they've showed it in the past. I do think that we see some more Stalker 2 today, even if it's just to show off how gorgeous that engine is. You don't need to know anything about the Stalker franchise, but you can look at the footage that they have shown and be impressed by what they have managed to accomplish within their game engine. And people are really, really stoked for this game that are fans. So if you're a casual, you have something to look forward to. And if you're a fan, you are stoked through the roof for Stalker 2. And yes, I do think we see that one today.
Cam, do you agree with Mr. Legary here?
I'm not familiar with Stalker, but I have been following the sequels, updates and things like that. And it is an ambitious title, not in your traditional AAA sense, but I'm excited to see what that game is and jump in and play. I'm in.
How about some indies? Let's talk indies for a second. Miranda, I'll start with you there because I mentioned I sort of crowbarred in Tunic a little while ago because I am in love with that game. I have been playing it. Again, that demo is out for everyone on Xbox on Tuesday. It is a Zelda-like game where you play an adorable fox, but it is a full-on through and through core, like a hardcore Zelda type of game. Elsewhere in the indie space, I mean, 12 Minutes is out there. What are you looking forward to seeing on the indie side?
Honestly, something new, which is weird to say because there are so many. Like, we had Wholesome Direct yesterday, had a lot of great stuff as well. But we know that Microsoft is a huge champion, of course, of their ID at Xbox program. And I want to see what else they have coming. I just recently got finished playing The Wild at Heart, which was an indie through that program as well, also published by Humble Bundle. And there's a lot of really great things there. So I just want them to give them a little bit of space, even if it's a reel or an event later that they have. I'm sure they're going to have some sort of like small section for that. We did see Ooblets on Xbox's stage, and that was another idea to Xbox game. It was just fantastic. It's such a darling game. So I do want to see more of those get the spotlight. And kind of on that line, maybe something with Game Pass, like how they're going to try to champion those games a little bit more and say, aside from like this one Twitter account you have to do. So we'll see.
Destin, the arcade cabinet is set to free play. Just press start. The floor is yours here for a minute. Anything, third party, first party. Give me something. What do you want to see today here as we get set?
Fala galera, estamos de volta a poucos instantes de começar essa live aqui, ó lá. Estamos com 1 minuto e 38 segundos, eles estão falando aí praticamente as expectativas, os hypes que eles têm para essa exibição da Microsoft com a parceria com a Bethesda. Então é um showcase das duas marcas, vamos ver o que eles vão trazer aí.
Show reactions to everything, so stick with us for that. We'll be with you for 30 minutes after this thing ends to dissect and break down all of the big announcements, including what is already leaked. But yeah, Forza Motorsport, I don't want to forget about this. This is a next-gen only edition. They are rebooting just Forza Motorsport, no number 8 on there, so they are leaving the Xbox One behind to dial out all of the power that they possibly can from the new console, and I cannot wait to see Forza Motorsport. I mean, we got an in-engine teaser of that last summer, but now I'm curious to see if we get a release date for that. Obviously, it's almost certainly going to be sometime in 2022, but I can't wait to see what a full-blown next-gen Forza Motorsport game looks like. And maybe we will also hear about Horizon as well to see what's going on with that. There have been a few rumors circulating about Forza Horizon 5, so we shall see.
Entramos nos segundos finais aí, pessoal. Vamos lá. Começou, pessoal. Vamos acompanhar aí? Começou, pessoal. Vamos acompanhar. Começou, gente. Vamos ver. Showcase 2021 da Xbox com a Bethesda. Vamos lá.
20 years. That's how long Xbox has been with us. And like you, this is a moment I always look forward to. I love seeing the new games, crossing my fingers for my favorites to return, hoping for a few surprises. Most of all, though, I love seeing everyone around the world come together and celebrate what games mean to all of us. And I think, you know, this past year, they've meant even more. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for the support you give us and one another. Xbox is turning 20. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the friendships we've had that whole time. At Bethesda, we believe video games do one thing better than anything else. They transport us. Through art and technology, there's real magic when you step into a new world and can make it your own. We've traveled the worlds of Elder Scrolls, of Fallout, and now, for the first time in over 25 years, we're creating a new universe with Starfield. Set hundreds of years in our future, it's an epic about hope, our shared humanity, and answering our greatest mystery. It's a game we've dreamt of playing, and it wasn't until now that we have the hardware, the technology, and the team who's hard at work at home to make that dream a reality. We're excited to finally share our first in-game teaser and something to look forward to.
Constellation Starship Frontier, we have you on scanners. Performing remote systems check. Helium-3 tanks checked. Seals are intact. We are still go.
They say, the wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it. You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family. What you've found, it's the key to unlocking everything.
We reach your constellation.
This is all we've been working towards.
Jemison route looks good.
We've come to the beginning of humanity's final journey.
Prepare for departure. Graviton loop array full check. Your space lane is clear.
That's why we're here.
Main engines go. Ignition.
To discover what's out there.
Good luck, Constellation. You are go for launch.
It is awesome to share with you for the very first time one of the most anticipated games in the world. From Todd
Então nós
Howard
temos aí o
and
lançamento
Bethesda Game
de
Studios.
Starfield, tá?
And yes,
Um jogo exclusivo que vai pintar aí para o Xbox, tá, pessoal?
the Xbox and Bethesda Game
Vamos ver aí.
Showcase. I am so excited and proud to be here today celebrating games because although it's been an incredibly tough year, I am grateful that games have been such an important source of joy and connection. We are committed to forging the next era of gaming, conjuring worlds never before possible, unlocking play across all devices, and delivering the power of games to everyone. And now, we get to share that quest with Bethesda, not just as partners, but as one team, united in bringing the very best games to more people everywhere. So today, we get to reveal more of what's to come. We have an amazing show, 30 titles, 27 in Xbox Game Pass, and of course, every single console title you'll see today is optimized for Xbox Series X and S.
Teremos milhares de jogos para a Season Pass, gente. E todos serão remasterizados e retrocompatíveis com a geração nova. Vamos acompanhar ela.
The latest entry in the haunting and evocative franchise created by GSC Game World, Stalker 2. Coming first to Xbox Series consoles and PC. This will be a true next-gen experience, targeting 4K resolution and ray tracing. Let's take a look at what you'll get to play when it launches next year.
Então temos aí o anúncio do jogo exclusivo para Xbox, Stalker. Vamos lá.
Ну, чё там?
Готово.
Ну и пошли они нахрен.
Спасибо тебе. Ты многим сталкерам жизнь спас.
Ну, давай, малюй картину маслом.
Que gráficos são esses, meus amigos? Meu Deus! Tá perfeito. Os armamentos ali. Muito bom.
Вот поэтому я ни в какие разборки и не лезу. Не хочу пулю поймать.
Ну, не знаю. Между аномалией и маслиной я уже лучше пулю выберу.
ты говоришь, а я прям вижу красоту эту. Не первый год в зоне, вроде примелькалась уже, а каждый день удивляет.
Зона надоесть не может. Говорят, ты знаешь, где вход в фундамент.
Узнаешь мотив? Слышал? Вот это культура! А ты одно и то же по кругу лобаешь.
Сам же просишь. У меня музучилище, если что.
О, месье, прошу прощения. Может, вам к ученым? Профессура. Они вам лабораторию найдут.
Да pошел ты.
Então, é um jogo sensacional, gente. Ó, começa aí, ó. Muito bom.
Чего?
Tô gostando do que tô vendo, hein, gente?
Дружбы в зоне я точно не встречал.
Это верно.
Он мучился?
Нет.
Это хорошо. Он этого не заслужил.
А пулю заслужил. Жаль, что ты так с ним поступил.
Мне тоже. Считаешь, я не думал, как обойтись без его смерти? Она не могла быть свободна, пока он жил. Зато теперь посмотри на нее. Нет, Скиф, я не отдам ее никому. Зона дала мне жизнь, новую жизнь. Жизнь, которую я готов вернуть, если потребуется. Я буду защищать ее. Всегда. Охренеть.
Похоже, пора.
И куда ты теперь?
В Припять. Нужно с ним поговорить.
Удачной охоты, сталкер.
Então tivemos aí o anúncio de Stalker 2. O coração de Chernobyl. Chernobyl! Gostei do que vi. Muito bom. Jogue no dia 1 com Xbox Pass.
We're surviving here. Rebuilding. Surviving's not enough. We've got to fight. No, we don't need to do anything. All right, when was the last time you saw written in any numbers?
All of my best friends like to go and get up. When they talk about all the words they never got to.
Hang in there, Holly.
Getting high with your best friends.
No rest for the wicked.
Let's go.
Through here. Come on.
God, I love Mondays. Another day in paradise.
Just like all of my home run. Getting high with your best friend.
Buckle up, buttercups.
We've got one shot. Let's make it count.
Over here!
Tivemos anúncio do game Contraband. Muito bom, hein? Jogue no dia 1 com a Xbox Game Pass. E temos Sea of Thieves, a Raven.
An ill wind blows from beyond the horizon. A new danger is coming on the tides. And the one who might stop this ruin, trapped for all forever in the sea of the damned. Now to save the pirate life, you must start by saving the life of one.
Oh! Didn't realize we had company. Captain
Olha aí quem tá no jogo, Jack Sparrow.
But I suspect you already knew that.
Não é da Raven, da Rare o estúdio. Olha, parceria com a Disney.
Because of the treasure Jack stole, a darkness followed him here. And if it's not stopped, this world will sink into shadow.
The sea holds many secrets.
Ah, a new body at last.
All I can do is show you the way.
From what I hear of this so-called Sea of Thieves, it's nothing but cursed crews, bloodthirsty mermaids, a legion of dead, angry pirates. Ah, yes. And now, one Davy Jones.
Olha o David Jones!
I believe that now is the perfect time to use
Sensacional.
A world without the eternal abyss. Is a world that refuses to face the truth. Nothing lasts forever. Destroy them!
I don't suppose, by chance, there's a second one of those? The Sea of Thieves, eh? Bring me that horizon.
O jogo vai ser sensacional, gente. Olha, junho, dia 22 de junho. Vindo de graça. Coming free? Não sei, hein? Olha, ó. Jogos da Sony, até então exclusivos, vindo para o Xbox. Olha aí.
Hey, how's it going?
Yakuza Like a Dragon. A SEGA agora abriu parcerias fora da Sony. Muito legal.
Time to call a friend! Order!
What the?
Happy birthday!
Jogo esse que também deve vir para o PlayStation, com certeza. Afinal de contas, era um exclusivo, né? Vamos ver. E temos agora Battlefield 2042, aí, ó. Vamos ver a gameplay, ó, o anúncio da gameplay de fato.
Attention all squads. The Russian troops are falling back. Do whatever you can to secure the sector.
Foi gravada com 128 jogadores no mapa. Na atual geração. Vamos ver aí. Sensacional, hein? Gameplay massivo, gente. Excepcional. Vem apenas para a nova geração. Olha aí. Ah, minto. Vem também para a PlayStation 4. Olha aí, ó. Antiga e atual geração. Vamos ver para quando ele vai ser anunciado. Olha aí. Battlefield 2042 vai ser anunciado para a data de, vamos ver, 22 de outubro de 2021. Tá aí a data de Battlefield 2042. Vamos ver o próximo exclusivo.
So, how was your day?
Oh, you know.
I have something to share.
What is this, my birthday?
We're having a baby.
Police, you're under arrest for your father's murder 8 years ago.
What's going on?
Shut up! You know what this is.
You've been lying to me all this time?
I should never have told you.
I'm out of patience.
What? I know I say this a lot, but I love you.
I say this a lot too, but back at ya.
Approaching the mother load. I can't believe I'm really here. Psychonauts headquarters. Look at all these gadgets.
The mind is the final frontier of humanity.
I'm ready for anything.
justice!
The fate of the free-thinking world is in your hands.
I'm afraid that means the dead letter office for you.
The mission is falling apart. A psychonaut must always remember how to roll with it.
What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?
This is a mission about the fate of the world. Can you do that?
Yes, if I can find some bacon.
I'm going to ignore that last part.
Chegou a Bethesda, olha aí.
This
Vamos
is usually
ver.
the moment when I say hello.
Pete
Welcome to the
Hines.
Bethesda E3
Vamos lá.
showcase. We love that we can share the stage with
Aqui estão os
Xbox
Xbox,
here.
ó.
And whether you've
Os
known
meus
Bethesda
antigos
for
Xbox.
35 years or
Aqui, ó.
are just getting to
Meu
know
dois,
us,
o
we couldn't be
arcade.
happier to bring you the
15,
latest
vamos lá.
on your favorite games. We started this showcase with my good friend Todd Howard, who gave you a first look at Starfield. Along with Bethesda Game Studios, all of our teams are continuing to work on the projects that have been in development since well before we joined the Xbox family. So rest assured, the games you've been expecting and hoping for are still in the works. And today, we're bringing 10 more titles to Game Pass.
Olha aí, teremos agora para Game Pass 30 jogos icônicos da Bethesda e mais 10 para Game Pass, olha
If
aí.
you're looking for another reason to play it, Doom Eternal will be optimized for Xbox Series X and S.
Doom Eternal vai ser otimizado para a atual geração,
This
olha aí.
next-gen upgrade will be free for everyone who owns Doom Eternal.
Com
And on Series
Ray
X, we'll
Trace
offer improved
e
visuals
60
at 60
FPS.
FPS with ray tracing, a 4K mode, and
com modo
an optional
4K.
performance mode up to 120 FPS. Or maybe you're in the mood for an RPG like Skyrim, which marks its 10th anniversary this November.
Skyrim faz
You can't
10
celebrate
anos,
it
aí,
without you.
novembro.
So share your favorite Skyrim memories, stories, artwork, and more on Skyrim10.com. Or explore an ever-changing post-apocalyptic wasteland in Fallout 76.
Fallout
Everything you love
76.
about Fallout games.
Aí, ó.
Custom camp building, rich storylines, warring factions, unique characters, places to discover, you'll find it all here. In fact, Fallout 76 is now one of the most popular games on Game Pass, thanks to an incredibly welcoming and collaborative community. Here's a look at what's coming next in Fallout 76.
Aí, Fallout 76, vamos ver aí quais são as novidades.
Brotherhood of Steel are the guardians of human civilization. Fort Atlas is safe. It came at a great cost.
The Brotherhood must stand united. The super mutant threat takes priority. This proves more than anything the need for our justice.
You are splitting our forces, Shin. The most important thing is finding everyone that has gone missing and returning them home.
So it comes to this. I thought you understood what that insignia meant. You are no paladin of the Brotherhood.
I set this plan in motion, and I am the only one who can stop it.
The Brotherhood of Steel must protect the future of Appalachia and of the world. Your righteous crusade has gone too far.
While it may seem that we are fractured, I believe that we are now stronger than ever. This is a choice that can never be undone.
Fallout 76 Steel Rain, Renada do Ferro, do Aço. Tá aí, ó.
What the hell was that? Expedition Squad Delta, report. Over. Squad Delta, what's going on out there? Come on. This isn't funny.
I know you can hear me.
Fallout 76, Expeditions The Pit, para
Wasteland isn't the only
2022.
open world playground with an amazing community.
Atualizações aí, ó.
From ZeniMax Online
Teremos
Studios
atualizações para o jogo, isso é muito importante, olha aí.
shows no signs
E
of
vai ter
slowing down.
Taz online,
Now
ó.
our players are enjoying the new Blackwood chapter, part of the Gates of Oblivion year-long adventure. We've got a lot more to come in ESO, including the conclusion to this epic story later this fall with ESO Deadlands. And with the release of ESO Console Enhanced this Tuesday, the game will deliver a true native experience optimized for the Series X and S.
Então teremos The Elder Scrolls Online otimizado para as gerações novas. Lançamento exclusivo aí, vamos lá.
It's a new world with new rules. Now nothing is off the table. Winning this battle will take a new breed of fighter. Wait.
Party Animals. Tá aí, ó. Lançamento. Curti.
Stupid boy. I told you nobody gets out of here.
Try and stop me.
Lançamento aí de Hades para Xbox e Xbox One também. Mais um lançamento exclusivo. Simples e com gráficos muito bons. Venha para 2022. Para todas as plataformas da Xbox ou Microsoft, como você desejar.
This holiday marks the 20th anniversary of Xbox and the 20th anniversary of Halo. To our millions of passionate fans, thank you.
We wouldn't be here without all of you.
Our goal has always been to bring players together, and for the first time, we're thrilled to offer our entire multiplayer experience to all players across Xbox and PC with no barriers. Halo Infinite Multiplayer will be free to play and invite more of you than ever before to become a Spartan hero. I'm excited to be here with Joseph Staten, the creative director of Halo Infinite. From helping craft the original Halo Combat Evolved to leading the fan favorite Halo 3 ODST, Joseph is a Halo visionary. It is so great to have him back with Halo.
Thank you, Bonnie. And hey, everybody. For us, and I hope many of you, Halo has always been about heroism and wonder, about fighting to keep humanity safe against impossible odds in a beautiful and mysterious sci-fi world. This is just one part of the Zeta Halo ring, the largest, most wide-open environment we've ever built, and we can't wait for you to explore it. The heart of Halo is Spartan 117, the Master Chief. In the next chapter of the Chief's story, you'll face his greatest challenge yet. But you're not alone in the fight.
Oh, the main batteries are shut down. We're stuck out here. You have one bullet against an entire army. What can you do on your own?
I told you. It's enough.
So I see.
I need you to understand. There's not much time. If you knew how you were going to die, you knew how you were going to die. How would you live your life differently? How would you live your life differently?
What happened? Where is Cortana?
The rogue AI known as Cortana is gone. She's been deleted.
How? By you?
Of course not. Did you hit your head or something? Don't you remember? My instructions were to enter this installation, imitate Cortana, and lock her down for retrieval. Yours were to take her back to the Infinity for deletion. So if it wasn't you... Okay then. There's something else. On successful deployment, my deletion routine was supposed to complete. Still here.
Good.
Good.
Something stopped your deletion. We need to find out why.
But this wasn't the mission.
The missions changed. They always do.
Are you sure?
Of course, you can't have a Halo game without multiplayer. And on Xbox Series X, you'll be able to enjoy Infinite's multiplayer action at up to 120
a
frames per
Cortana
second.
morreu. Foi deletada.
Finally, I'm very happy to announce that Halo Infinite's first free-to-play multiplayer season and Infinite's story-driven campaign will launch together this holiday.
A new day is upon us. A new generation built to fight. Together, we are unstoppable. Are you ready? to base. Ordnance drop inbound. The flag is ours. Please call at your earliest convenience. Now, show me what you can do.
Evil has survived. A dark figure wanders in the east. He must be stopped. At all costs.
E aí? Será Diablo?
darkest hour. But it will be your greatest moment.
Diablo 2. A ressurreição.
These things. Where did they come from?
Tá dizendo que foi capturado na Engine.
From all of us. From what we do to him.
Can you stop it?
I don't know. But he's my brother. And I would die for him.
A Plague Tale Requiem 2022 vem aí.
It rings every hour, señor presidente.
Temos mais
Hola, fascista.
Far Cry.
I recognize that voice. Let me ask you a question. When I am dead and Yara is burning, what exactly is your plan? Hold hands, sing songs around the fire?
Sure, I know just the song.
Time you learn about resolver, Danny. To take down Castillo, a guerrilla needs the right tool for the right job.
Keep talking.
It's a stealth operation. I got you covered.
Far Cry que também vem pra antiga geração.
Taking out a high-value target? I have just what you need. You wanna blow shit up? Juan Cortez at your service. Everyone in Yara saw that shit. What? Wait a second. Who brought the rooster? Hey, whatever you need to get the job done, Danny.
É o Ivo Papagaio. Galinha louca.
Next time I see you, I want to play with that crazy backpack here.
Disponível dia 7 de outubro de 2021.
So do I.
Boom punch. Welcome back to Shred-ageddon. Here's a new trick. Let's go.
Será Step 2? Tá com cara, hein? Se bem que Step 2 é da Ubisoft, então já não é mais. É muito parecido, hein?
Blithering whipwalk.
Shredders, dezembro de 2021. Atomic Heart para todas as plataformas da Microsoft. Mais um exclusivo, vamos lá. É um indie bonito, hein? Show de bola, gostei do que tô vendo. Replated para todas as plataformas da Microsoft em 2022. Vamos aí de jogo da Xbox Game Studios. Vamos lá.
In the first year of Grounded, millions of players kept busy with crafting, fighting, the pond, ziplining, flying things. Now, to celebrate, we present the Shroom and Doom update. It gives the people what they've been asking for. Like sitting. No, seriously, a lot of people want to sit. Pets for when you get sick of your human companions. And of course, mushrooms. But not those kinds. We've also got something that literally no one was asking for. The Brood Mother. She's so terrifying. You should probably turn on arachnophobia mode. Oh, even her blob scares the shit out of us. Go big. Or never. Go.
E assim eu ia que ativar o modo de aracnofobia, porque eu odeio aranha.
Oh, and it looks like we added achievements too. Nice.
Among Us, update disponível aí. Sobe com 15 jogadores. Among Us em todas as plataformas. Vamos para Xbox Series S e X. Vamos lá. Eiyuden Chronicle. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes vem para 2023 e o outro vem para o ano que vem, 2022. Mais um lançamento exclusivo. Vamos lá.
Solutions to conflicted situations. We wish to test your abilities.
Mais um jogo da Xbox Game Studios.
History is all around us. Those who made it have never been forgotten. Their daring choices echo across time, turning land into kingdoms and mortals into legends. If history was in your hands, what would you build?
Tá com cara de ser Age of Empires, hein?
How would you fight?
Tá com cara não, tenho certeza que é Age of Empires.
Where would you go? What will you be remembered for?
A música é do Age of Empires. Sou muito fã. Age of Empires 4. Dia 28 de outubro.
We begin by hearing an old, wise-sounding voice. And we see a quiet, peaceful setting. This will make our game seem big and important. Now, something must break the serenity. Will this creature be in the game? No. Say goodbye to it forever. suddenly, and for no reason. People running. These pointless slow-motion shots make everything seem cool and should bolster pre-sale numbers. That wah sound can mean only one thing. We must gaze over an epic shot of a world, and there should be lens flares. Now we see our hero, but only their silhouette, because the developers haven't finished the design, or finished the story, or finished any gameplay that's actually ready to show. In fact, the only thing they have finished is the title.
The Outer Worlds 2 para a nova geração e PC. Mais um jogo da Xbox Game Studios e exclusivo para console. Pode ser o Horizon, hein? Ou Fly Simulator. Bem capaz que seja o Microsoft Flight Simulator novo. Fly Simulator novo, olha aí, esse é o novo. Indo para Xbox Series X e S. Disponível dia 27 de julho desse ano. Deve ser a expansão do jogo, hein? Expansão gratuita vindo para 2021. Top Gun Maverick. Olha aí. Expansão do Top Gun. Um exclusivo do Xbox feito pela Xbox Game Studios. Agora sim, Horizon.
Let everybody talk right now. Tell me what you want right now. You could get it. Yeah, well you can get it. Yeah, you can get it.
Hello, I'm Mike Brown, Creative Director at Playground Games, and I can't wait to show you what we've been working on. Horizon is known for fun, freedom, and beauty. This year, the Horizon Festival arrives in beautiful, diverse Mexico. This is the largest and most diverse open world ever in a Forza Horizon game. And there is no better car to explore it than the stunning AMG Project One Forza Edition. Rendered in unparalleled detail and with ray tracing in Forza Vista, thanks to the power of the Xbox Series consoles. I've invited along some of the team to help give you a taste of some of the amazing content that's waiting for you in Forza Horizon 5. Please welcome Bill, Maddie, Sierra, and Don from the Forza team.
Hey, Mike.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, everyone.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
And we also have Abraham
Então
with us
temos
as
aí
well.
o anúncio de
He's one of the talented
Horizon
actors who will be
5.
appearing in the game.
Olha aí.
Bienvenidos a México. I can't wait to show you what we've been working on.
We begin in the rainforest on an expedition. This is a new campaign mode in which you set out on an adventurous journey across Mexico to explore new locations and discover places for the festival to expand.
I'm on the river now. We're getting close.
There you are. How's the expedition going?
I'm racing a car through the Mexican jungle, Rami. Doesn't get much better than this. I can see some ruins up ahead.
Bienvenida Alpsmal. Look out for the flamingos! This city is still a jewel of Mayan architecture.
That's a peek at our adventurous campaign. But Forza Horizon has always been a game that's best enjoyed with others. Let's go and see what some of our other players are up to. The Xbox Series consoles allow us to capture every last detail, right down to the individual needles on these cholla cactus. The scene looks real, but there are no tricks. This is in-game. Maddie is behind the wheel of the AMG Project One Forza Edition in Mexico's lush, living desert. The perfect place to meet up with friends and head out for a drive. Thanks to the next generation of our Horizon Live servers, everyone else we see here are real players. And it looks like Maddie has been joined by some other members of the Forza team. Let's leave Maddie for a moment and head out to the coast and meet Don. Don is already on the move, exploring this idyllic seaside town. This is a recreation of Mexico that is honest, authentic, and filled with love. Speaking of, hold up, Don.
Oh, hey, what's up?
This is a mural by Mexican artist Farid Rueda. Just one of the many beautiful, faithful pieces of Mexico you'll find all over Forza Horizon 5. While Don drives down to the beach, we'll jump over to the Gran Caldera volcano. Check out this geology detail, implemented with precision accuracy using photogrammetry data captured on location atop an active Mexican volcano. The entire world has been recreated at this level of detail. And here's Sierra in her favorite off-road buggy. The volcano Sierra and friends are exploring is the highest point ever in a Horizon game. And thanks to the power of the Xbox Series consoles, from up here we can see for miles in every direction. In the distance, we can just about make out Guanajuato. Let's take a closer look. Guanajuato is one of the most beautiful cities anywhere in the world. It's a colourful, undulating city full of vibrant architecture. It even has a sprawling network of tunnels. And these twisting, turning, overlapping streets mean that as well as looking good, it plays great too. As we see here, as Don is challenged in Horizon's open world battle royale, The Eliminator. While Don tries to win that race, the rest of our players are still out exploring this diverse open world. Let's head north to the canyon. The Horizon series is known for its uplifting beauty, and using our unique HDR camera rig, we captured 24-hour shoots of real Mexican skies at 12K resolution. And thanks to the Xbox Series consoles, these photorealistic skies result in lifelike lighting that dynamically changes every frame, making you feel like you're really there. Here's Maddie again. She's joined by Abraham and some other members of the team. Our players are using Forza Link, the new AI assistant that intelligently tracks the status of you and the people you meet online, and then helps you link up and play together. We'll now head deep into the rainforest and rejoin Bill and the rest of our players. Here we see our new volumetric lighting system filling the scene with God rays as the sunlight dapples through the dense rainforest. A Horizon arcade minigame is about to start. Forza Link knows that Bill loves minigames, so it intelligently prompts Sierra to invite Bill. Bill accepts, and they're seamlessly linked together with their GPS route set. With that Horizon arcade minigame starting soon, all of our players are coming together. This minigame is called Piñata Pop, signaled by the Horizon cargo plane dropping a payload of piñatas.
Ooh, over this way. Gotta catch up to you guys.
Our players now have to work together to find and pop as many as they can.
Okay, go up here to the left.
There's loads along the main road.
Here I go.
I'll take the left of the bushes here.
There's some between the houses.
Oh, there's a couple more over here.
Sweet.
While the team grab those last few piñatas, we're going over to the stadium because I have one more thing to show you. This is Events Lab, the incredible new toolset that allows you to create your own races, game modes, and gameplay experiences. You customize everything, right down to the fundamental rules of the game. Forza Horizon 5 is the largest, most fun, and most beautiful open world we've ever built. And it will truly be an astounding showcase for the Xbox Series consoles when it comes to Xbox Game Pass this November 9th. Thank you so much. I'll see you all in Mexico later this year.
Team Xbox is on a mission to bring the joy and community of gaming to everyone on the planet. That's why you, the gamer, are at the center of everything we do.
Quanta coisa nova, gente,
we
hein?
showed you 30 games. 27
Sensacional.
of them will be available on Xbox Game
Aí,
Pass.
temos
Now, through the end of the
13
year,
jogos
you
aí
can
pra
look
Game
forward to
Pass
back-to-back
2021.
monthly releases landing day one on Game Pass, led by 5 new titles from Xbox Game Studios, as well as highly anticipated games like Back 4 Blood, 12 Minutes, and The Ascent. And as we look ahead to next year, I'm inspired by the creativity of Bethesda and Xbox Game Studios. We showed you the highly anticipated RPG Starfield coming exclusively to Xbox. But we also have some of the industry's best RPG storytellers working on Avowed, Fable, The Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, The Outer Worlds 2, and Elder Scrolls 6. We unveiled the stunning multiplayer mode for the world's most beloved shooter in Halo Infinite, adding to the roster of iconic Xbox shooters alongside Wolfenstein, Gears of War, Perfect Dark, and Doom. We premiered the most epic open-world racing game, Forza Horizon 5, bringing you a vibrant and authentic depiction of Mexico in a game built from the ground up for next gen, while the team at Turn 10 is hard at work on the next Forza Motorsport. Our growing family of 23 studios is devoted to advancing the medium we all love. Xbox has been here for 20 years, and that's because of you. Our team strives to make Xbox a place where you'll find the
20
greatest
anos de
games,
Xbox,
the most
pessoal.
dedicated developers, and the most passionate community. Together, we all make Xbox the best place to play. Before I go, there's one more thing. take a look at this brand new original game from the Arcane team at Bethesda, the studio that created Prey and Dishonored.
Antes de acabar, tem mais um anúncio da Bethesda, hein?
Something new for them.
Tá acabando a live.
An open world immersive shooter that you can play alone or with your friends. And like Starfield, this game will be an Xbox exclusive.
Mais um game exclusivo da Xbox, feito pela Bethesda.
Pobre bribón. I'm gonna have to take you apart again. Hey, Dev, anything interesting?
Yes, exist too. Mandible, 25 centimeters. Dramatically elongated.
Go on, make yourself useful.
So, that was fun, right?
That's your cue, mate.
Sleep tight.
You know what this reminds me of? My time in the Himalayas.
Ready his laser down.
You think they can't kill you anytime they want?
Hey, asshole!
How do we always get into this shit?
In the field in Redfall, Massachusetts. Behind me, we are witnessing clear signs of cult activity as the locals engage.
Hey!
Really hope the video was worth it.
Everybody, fall back! People need to know what happened here. Layla, with me. Get me on the roof now.
Thank you, Layla. You're the best. Oh, Jacob, don't even mention it.
Come in! Now or never!
Where's the other one? Where'd it go?
Give me a chili sweet blood bag.
Bloody hell.
Taste this, cabrona!
Ah, o jogo é muito top, cara!
Jacob, there's something.
O jogo é muito top, cara.
Shit. Dev's gonna love this one.
You better have a plan, Jacob.
Yep. Don't miss.
Don't touch me!
Look! A new one!
Primo, venate! Go, go!
Kill me. End me. You can't break the blood trance. It's only just begun.
I think there's vampire in this.
Really? What does it taste like? Be specific.
Like blood and death. And strawberry.
Sun's coming up. Let's keep moving.
Let's keep moving.
Sure thing, Edgar Allan Bro.
That's a good one.
Do you think things will ever go back to normal?
Would you want to go back to normal?
Not if I still have to pay my student loans.
Então é anúncio de Redfall. para 2022, no verão de 2022, para Xbox Series X e S e Windows. Top. Redfall, exclusivo do Xbox, feito pela Bethesda. Show. Então nós pudemos ver aí vários anúncios, né? Sea of Thieves. Poxa, uma série de jogos, cara. Uma série de jogos, cara. Eu estou aqui abismado com a quantidade, cara, de jogos incríveis que vão vir para Xbox agora. É muito, cara, show de bola. Bethesda 2042, Age of Empires, Diablo 2, vários jogos que vão ser otimizados para a atual geração. Nossa, cara, eu tô assim, bobo mesmo, cara. Redfall também. Ó, Starfield. Mais 27 jogos vindo para Xbox Game Pass. Sensacional, cara. Não tem o que falar.
Which block? G2. All right, I'm ready. Wow, whether you are a Series X or Series X owner, or Game Pass fan, or just here because you love the sound of my voice, that's not why you're here. There is a lot to be excited about. Let's discuss. I'm Ryan McCaffrey. This is a very special Unlocked post-show live after the Xbox press conference. It's all part of IGN's Summer of Gaming. Joining me to help break everything down, Miranda Sanchez, Destin Legary, and Cam Hawkins. And in the chat, we have Jada, so be sure to say hi if you're in chat. Guys, let's get right into it. First things first, biggest topic. Let's go with games first.
E3 2021 é na Tech Games BR. Fique de olho na agenda de eventos dessa E3. Toda a cobertura da E3 aqui na Tech Games BR. Lives com todos os eventos do ano. Os maiores lançamentos e novidades você acompanha aqui, na Casa do Gamer.